Good morning. It is 5:48 a.m. on Thursday, November 5th, 2015. I'm Christiane Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, uh, couple of things. One, today is day 2 of not taking Lynn out right away so that I can wait for the sun to come up a little bit. She's doing okay. The other is that I finally released last night the cross-examination / interview episode for Space Casey Season 2 that is only a year and a little bit late from when I originally wanted to do it, and I just didn't get around to it and stuff was going on and just didn't do it. And then finally I did it. So that is available now both at ChristianaEllis.com and on the original Space Casey podcast feed. So go check that out. And as much as I'm proud that I finally got something to put out, kind of glad to have it behind me, because I feel in some ways like part of the problem was that I was ready to be working on something else, but I still had that lingering, and that was holding me back a little bit because I didn't want to work on that, but it felt like I should do that before I do something else, so I ended up doing nothing. Anyway, so the primary thing, though, that I want to talk about today is that I've decided to rewatch the Star Wars saga. Believe it or not, it is only 6 weeks away that Episode 7, The Force Awakens, is coming out, and so 6 weeks, 6 original movies, seemed like the thing to do. So last night I rewatched Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And when I posted about that online, the predictable responses trickled in. Lots of people saying, "Oh no, I'm so sorry," or "No, don't do it." And here's the thing. I'm a prequel apologist to a degree. To my mind, it's very clear that the prequels are not as good as the original trilogy. They have substantial and real problems and things that I just really don't like. However, I think that they also do have a lot of interesting stuff going on, and that to imply that they are only terrible is reductive and not a very interesting argument, frankly. I think it is a lot more interesting to be able to look at a movie that isn't working completely and examine what it is about it that doesn't work, and maybe what about it does work, and you can think about it in that context of like, okay, well, on balance, we didn't like this as much, and maybe it was this element, this element, this element, but that does not mean that you have to hate on the rest of it. And I think that there is a lot of good in the prequels, even though it's unfortunately balanced by bad stuff. So, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. You know what? I didn't hate watching it. There's Jar Jar. But, like, part of the problem, I think, with Jar Jar is not even just that he's kind of dumb or his voice is annoying or something. It's that he, along with a couple of other spots, feel like a little bit too much of an intrusion of our world into that one. Like when he says, "How wooed," or, "Excuse me," those little bits. It's kind of like the sports announcer during the pod race. Just feels too contemporary, like the kind of voice you'd hear on a NASCAR race. And I like Greg Proops, the voice actor there, but I just feel like it's the wrong creative choice to have that character sound like that. It pulls us away. Part of the appeal of Star Wars is being able to feel like this, we get to get lost in this whole other universe. And things like that feel like it's a reminder oh right, this is just a movie made by a guy. And so that's disappointing. So at the same time, I don't want to focus too much on the stuff that's not good because lots of people do that, and it's obvious. The thing. Jar Jar. Um, it's a weird choice to have Anakin so much younger than Padme, since they're going to get romantic later. So it just produces some strangeness. Dialogue is terrible almost across the board. But okay, I don't want to focus on that because lots of people do. Everybody's on the same page, I think, that there's lots of bad stuff in it. But art design, the look of various alien creatures, the cities on Naboo, um, Coruscant, and there's this scene where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are talking, and it's sunset, and the spaceships are all thousands and thousands of them flying around in the sky behind them. There's a lot of just the way, like the fighters from Naboo, just stuff looks cool. There's also lots of cool stuff with the Jedi fighting, like the whole opening sequence with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon fighting on the Trade Federation ship. I think that's pretty cool stuff. And then for all the hate that the droid army get for those characters, the droid soldiers being kind of dumb, they are. But at the same time, I think the choice of having the droid army is really smart, because if you think about it, if what we want to see is a lot of Jedi using their lightsabers, have them using their lightsabers on human soldiers, it's trickier. And we'll see as we get into episodes 2 and 3 that it becomes more problematic, that you don't want to be showing limbs flopping off left and right. So with the droids, you can have the Jedi just whoom, 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 and just cutting droids off, in half left and right, and you don't have to worry about, oh, there's blood and guts everywhere. The pod race is pretty exciting. I would say I feel like it maybe goes on a little bit too long, and as previously mentioned, the announcer is kind of annoying, but just like the sound design there, like the different sounds of the various engines and the different alien creatures, and just the feel of speed that you get, and just also just the world building idea that here's this whole element of stuff that goes on that we didn't have any idea about previously. And it flushes out the world. It's an exciting sequence. And then, of course, the final lightsaber battle. It's not as quickly paced as some stuff later in the series, but I feel like it's good in the sense that you can follow what's happening. And it's just exciting. And I just remember how I felt when I saw it for the first time. I thought I was just thrilled. I think that Darth Maul is effectively menacing in that sequence, and the bit where he and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are separated by those little force fields, and we see how each of the three of them have to wait, and then just the way that it separates Obi-Wan from the other two while those two are fighting, and when Qui-Gon is killed, that sequence is amazing. So it's like some of those fan edits of The Phantom Menace where they just cut out a lot of the filler that's in the movie. There's some great stuff in there. It's unfortunately surrounded by less great stuff. So, without, again, overstating my case and implying that I think the movie is great, I think it has great stuff in it, and it is not as bad as some people make it out to be. It's just different than what they wanted, which is not the same thing. Even Jar Jar, for example, I just have to say, when that movie came out, I had a part-time job at a daycare center, and the little kids there, they liked Jar Jar. And my point in saying that is only that there's a difference between something that is not for you and something that is bad. Now, Jar Jar, unfortunately, I think, is bad in the sense that he clashes with the rest of the movie. In tone, that character doesn't really fit with the rest. But as a character for little kids to grab onto, to appeal, to make them laugh and everything, which is clearly what he was intended to do, for little kids, they liked him. Maybe not every little kid, but the point is, I think, just as a life philosophy, I prefer to look for the things that I like, to find the things that I can enjoy in that movie, rather than just, crapping on it exclusively. So, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace rewatch. I'm glad I rewatched it. It had been a while, and I was, just reminded, nothing about it, my opinion really changed, but just kind of reminder, yep, that's how I feel, which is, it's got some significant problems. It's got a lot of stuff that doesn't matter, meaning it might be interesting in the moment, but it's not really important for the broader story. But it also has some good stuff in it that I feel like is worth acknowledging. All right, well over 5 minutes, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow for 5 more minutes.